last lecture, we learned about demand elasticities, how to calculate it, the equation for demand, quantity demanded, and how we find out elasticity from that, right? So now in today's lecture, we'll be moving forward to production. Now, as you all know, there are 4 factors of production, which are land, labor, capital, and entrepreneur or the businessman, right? Now, what exactly are factors of production? First of all, let us understand the difference between production and manufacturing. Manufacturing refers to making a product, and production means the end result where the product reaches your final destination or the retail store, right? Now, to produce a product, you need the 4 basic things, which is land, on which you will develop your factory, your premises, and you will start the production processes. To carry out the production processes, you need human capital, that is labor. You need capital, which is the amount of money that is invested in your business, and you are the entrepreneur. Now, in lieu of employing these factors of production, you have to pay certain amounts, which are rent for land, wages for labor, interest for capital, right? Now, these 3 things together make up your cost, which is the total amount expended by you, the entrepreneur, for making a product. And when you add profit to it, you get selling price. This profit is given to the entrepreneur. So these are the 4 incomes for the factors of production employed, or the expenses for the entrepreneur who are employing these factors of production, right? This is the cost, profit, and selling price. Now, when we talk of a production function, the main question which arises is, when should we start or stop employing them, or when should we start or stop our business? Now, your production function is carried on in 2 phases. The first is in the short run, and the next is in the long run. Generally, a period up to 5 years is considered a period of short run, where your business is relatively new and you're just figuring out what you can do to optimize your factors of production and maximize your profit. A period greater than 5 years is going to be your long-term period, right? Now, your main question is whether to shut down your business, whether you're making break even, whether you're creating profits, or whether your business is running in a loss. Now, for this, the first thing you need to understand is that how costs work. Now, let us draw a graph here. Again, we'll be plotting your cost, which is the dependent variable on y-axis, and quantity on x-axis. Now we have to draw certain graphs. The first graph which we are going to draw is for average total cost, right? Now, for that, first of all, you need to understand the components of cost. Now, your total cost is made up of fixed cost and variable cost. In the short run, we do not vary all the factors of production, because in the short run you have just started your business. If you go on varying all the factors of production, there won't be any stability in the business. So generally we only keep one factor of production fixed and one factor of production variable. The fixed one is generally capital, and the variable is generally labor. In the long run, all factors of production can be varied, because you have already achieved a sense of stability in your business, and now you are ready to experiment and find out what is the best possible method of production to maximize profits for your business, right? Now, your total cost gives you fixed cost plus variable cost, right? We have to find out averages, because in production the costs are divided per unit. That is how you can find out the per unit cost and selling price of a product. Now average total cost will give you average fixed cost plus average variable cost. Now how this behaves is, average fixed cost is just going to fall. Why? Because the formula for average fixed cost is total fixed cost upon number of units, right? Now here this is going to remain fixed and the denominator is going to go on increasing. So that is why the fraction will go on decreasing and the graph will be like this. Now average variable cost will fall first and then increase, because it's a variable factor of production, it is a variable component. First it will decrease because the business is new, you don't need as much of variable component as you need the fixed component. It reaches a minimum point, and once your business is sort of settled and you start making good revenue and profits, your variable costs will have to increase. Let us take an example. Suppose if I have to set up a production unit with a capacity of say 1000 units per day, right? Now I have to start off small. So in the beginning I start off with a capacity of 100 units per day. For that, the fixed machinery which I need is not changeable, because I need the basic machinery which can churn out 100 units or 1000 units, which is the basic investment which I cannot avoid. So my fixed costs in the beginning is going to be high. My variable costs like the premises, the number of laborers I want to employ and the extra production processes which I need can be cut down and divided among the people. I don't need specialization of labor at that stage because I'm barely making profits. Now once my business starts kicking up, I can increase my variable cost because of the needs for specialization, customization, right, and better quality of product. So my variable cost goes on increasing as my business expands. The average variable cost will be total variable cost upon the number of units. So again this is going to vary, so that is why it first falls, it reaches a minimum and then it goes on increasing. Now your average total cost is a mixture of this average fixed cost and average variable cost. That also is a U-shaped curve. Now let us plot it all again on the graph. Okay. Now my average total cost is going to be a curve which is somewhat like this. This is my ATC curve. Right? Sorry, just the shape is a little bit distorted. I'll draw it again. Let us just draw 3 lines for balance. Yes. So now my average total cost curve is going to be something like this. It is a plain U-shaped curve. My marginal cost curve. Now marginal cost is the cost incurred for producing one additional unit of a product. My MC curve is always like this. It is falls in the beginning and then just shoots right up, right? Is going to be similar to ATC because excluding the fixed component, the ATC has to be similar to my average variable cost. They are going to behave in the same way. So let us draw the average variable cost curve something like this, right? So this is my average variable cost, this is my average total cost, and this is my MC curve. Now whether to continue the business or not depends on whether you're making good profits or not. Now consider this here. In the graph, as long as the marginal cost curve is cutting the ATC, now this means that at this stage you are just making your break even, meaning your selling price is equal to your cost. You're not making any profits, but neither are you making losses, right? So this is just cutting out, this is just break even. This is the area where you're just covering your variable costs. right? So if you're covering your variable costs, still here you can run the business. This is quite favorable. But below this point, see, the variable cost is greater than the revenue. Now you can call these the revenue curves. If the variable cost is more than the revenue, now this is the point to shut down. The simple equation is, if you cannot cover your costs, you cannot continue your business. Now as long as your fixed costs have to be covered, as long as your fixed costs are being covered, you can still run the business, because at this phase, see, your fixed costs were being covered here, right? The moment you cannot even cover your fixed costs is the stage when you should stop your business entirely, right? So that is the basic idea, or whether you should run a business, shut it down, or you can keep it running. So this phase here is the phase where you can keep it running, but still you're not making very great profits in this, right? So we got to know how to draw a graph for average fixed cost, how that graph behaves. Now let us go ahead and talk about the production functions. Now if I'm talking of a production function, it means the relationship between inputs and outputs, right? My production function is going to go like this, something like this, right? This is the total product curve. Now my production is going to be divided into 3 phases. In the first phase, my marginal product is going to increase, because it's the beginning of the production cycle. I have a lot of input. I have good factors of production who have not reached a saturation point. So my marginal product, every additional product is going to increase. In the second phase, my marginal product is going to decrease, because here slowly the saturation level will go on increasing. Now the laborers are going to be more burdened, the factors of production are going to be more burdened, there's going to be more pressure on the capital, labor, machinery to operate. So the production is going to go slow, it's going to slow down. And in the last stage, which is too much of saturation of all the factors, my marginal product is going to become negative, right? So as the total product, although total product will go on increasing, but see, now the moment at which the marginal product decreases and the cusp of the negativity starts, the total product has also started declining. The total product can never be negative, because you will always go on producing units, right? First it increases. Here the speed of production is decreasing, so you can say that it is increasing with a decreasing speed, right? Its momentum or speed is decreased, and in the last stage it goes on declining at a very rapid phase, or it becomes negative, right? So how to understand all this? In the short run, like we are learning how to cook, we are at that phase or at that stage where we don't know how much salt to put in our food. The short run of the business is the phase where you do not take any decisions, any rash decisions, and make heavy investments. You have to balance out different things, mix and match with trial and error, and find out various options. For example, if in option 1 I can employ so much of labor, so much of capital, how much of profit am I getting? So when I have different options to vary and compare, then I can take a decision whether I should opt for scheme A, B or C in the long run. So in the short run, you're just going to be doing trial and error, because you've not established yourself fully in the business. So whatever setbacks you're going to have, better to have it in the short run rather than having it in the long run, right? So in the short run, again, since your one factor of production is going to be fixed and the other is going to be variable, you cannot go on varying all the factors of production, because for example, in the last example I had undertaken to open a factory with a capacity of 1000 units, right? So if I've taken a land, say, let us take an example, 50 acres, just an example. I've already taken a loan on it, or taken it on rent, or even if I've bought it, I have to pay my installments for that. It's very unlikely that a businessman will have ready cash for a first initial business of that sort. So if I've purchased my land, I cannot think of expansion in the first year itself. See, first of all, in the business, you have to stabilize. Before stabilizing, you have to start cutting break even. First break even, then you start making profits. Then you stabilize your business, and then you move to long run businesses. So once I've stabilized my business, I cannot immediately jump to expansion, because this is the phase I've just started making profits. Once I analyze the whole thing in 4 to 5 years, then the long run phase is the expansion phase. So that can be applied to diversification. Suppose if I have 1 or 2 business lines, either I can expand my existing business line, or I can expand into another business venture, right? So in the short run, I've stabilized my business, I'm making decent profits, and now when I know that this model is working for my business, I can think of expansion, keeping already what I have and expanding further. Now what happens in the long run is, let us just suppose your long run average cost curve is just going to be another U-shaped curve. The cost curve is always going to be U-shaped, right? Now this is because of a congregation of small short run average curves like this. Now what does this represent? Please pardon me for my terrible diagrams. This is my quantity and this is my cost. Now these are the short run average cost curves. These are the different models or the different years which I have done business through, right? So for example, this was year 1, or this was model 1, this was model 2. I have to employ that short run average curve which gives me minimum losses, minimum costs and maximum profits. Now where the minimum points of both the short and long run average cost curves are, that is my point of maximum profit, because my costs are minimum. At this point, my cost is minimum and my profit is maximum. So I have to just find a tangent to my short run average cost curves, and the enveloping curve is called the long run average cost curve in the long run. Now since I have done business for a couple of years, then I'll have the experience to plot a long run average cost curve, because I know what all costs I'm going to incur, in what proportion they can be, and I know how to minimize my costs and maximize my profits, right? So this was just the cost curves in the long run, which is a business where you are working, where you have established yourself and working for more than 5 years. Now this is the expansion phase of a business. Now in the long run, you can vary all the factors of production, because you're not running to make out your break even still. You have already established yourself, you're making decent profits. Now is the time to expand and vary all the factors of production. For example, in the last example, I had purchased land worth 50 acres. Now after 6 years, if I've stabilized myself, I can vary my land also, I can vary capital also, and I can vary laborers also. So at that stage, it becomes more tricky. That is why you need to plot all the short run average cost curves and find out which is the most suitable for your business at that time. Because I'm varying variable and fixed both costs, so all the costs are going to shoot up. So in turn, my total cost is going to be very high. So at that stage, I need to be so emphasized in the market, or my business presence needs to be so solid that people are not going to be bugged down by my expansion strategies, or the business has already established itself, so it's going to make a minimum amount of profit. The revenue it's going to generate is basic and it is fixed. That revenue is not going to be tampered with, harmed or changed. So once that is established, you can think of increasing your total cost, because you know that you're going to make the certain basic level of profit, right? So we are done with the costs concept. In the next lecture, now since we know about demand, we know about cost production. In the next lecture we'll be talking about different types of markets, and these cost curves are going to be very useful while studying markets. For example, if there are different types of markets like competition, perfect competition, oligopoly, in that how my market costs and demand and supply curves are going to behave and how my business is going to be impacted by all this, we'll see all this in the next lecture.